Hey everybody. In this presentation, I'm going to try to explain Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his party, the BJP's drop in vote between 2014 and 2015 by looking at media portrayal during and around President Obama's visit to India. In other words, the ObamaNamo Effect. In spite of the obstacles presented by its massive size, population, and diverse languages, India has managed to cultivate an impressively representative democracy. Over the past 20 years, Indian elections have attracted on average a higher percentage of their electorate than their American counterparts, which corresponds to hundreds of millions more voters. In 2014, candidate Narendra Modi devised a campaign that thrived in this environment. Preaching coexistence, emphasizing the teachings of popular monk Swami Vivekananda, and utilizing a persuasive television and social media strategy, Narendra Modi accumulated unmatchable popularity. However, his biggest asset was his oratory eminence. Scholar of his campaign, Lance Price, wrote, "The Blairs, Thatchers, and Clintons all knew how to woo their audiences. The words of Barack Obama will be quoted for generations to come, but none of them ever engaged a crowd with such fervent, visceral passion as Narendra Modi." After traveling over 300,000 kilometers, appearing in nearly 6,000 events, and winning over 14 million Facebook friends, Namo, as he is called, earned a whopping 66.4% of the vote. However, Modi's popularity proved fickle. While in 2014 Delhi voted in favor of the BJP, Modi's party, in 2015 the electorate flipped allegiances. On February 7, 2015, the BJP lost 29 seats, while their rival party, the AAP, gained 39. So what happened? What caused this shift in Modi's popularity? One hypothesis has to do with an event that took place only weeks before the vote. Obama's visit to India from January 25th to the 27th. Why might this visit have caused the BJP problems in the impending election? One fake word: Pacolypse. After 3 days of productive negotiations and relation building, Modi was caught wearing a pinstripe suit with his name as the stripes. This display of wealth conceivably distanced him from the people he was elected to represent. To test the hypothesis that Pacolypse contributed to a negative media portrayal of Modi, I analyzed nearly 150 Indian newspaper articles from January 24th to January 29th. I categorized each article as before, after, or during Obama's visit, then rated their tone as positive, neutral, or negative. If I can show that a higher proportion of articles are negative after the event than before, the hypothesis will have been supported. All the articles that I analyzed were from one of three newspapers: the Times of India in Delhi, the Hindustan Times, and the Indian Express. The Times of India and the Hindustan Times appear to focus on local and international news, while the Indian Express resembles more of a tabloid, focusing on celebrity gossip and scandals. To conduct my analysis, I first organized the data into a table. The top number in each cell represents the observed number of articles that fell into that category, while the bottom shows the percent of each column that is in a particular row. For example, of all the articles published before Obama's visit, 7.1% had a negative tone, 50% had a neutral tone, and the remaining 42.9% had a positive tone. A chi-squared test can estimate the probability that the distribution of values on the table might occur randomly. For our table, the chi-squared value is 3.5. For our 4 degrees of freedom, that only yields a p-value of 0.48, far larger than the 0.05 value usually used to judge significance in the social sciences. Even though the distribution cannot be considered significant, I used a linear mixed effects regression to investigate a possible effect size. A linear mixed effects regression is similar to a regular linear regression, but it accounts for levels in the independent variable. In this case, the different levels correspond to the different newspapers. The global effect here is pretty much zero. However, a global effect might not be an accurate descriptor of this scenario, Because each newspaper might have responded to Stripocalypse differently, implementing random effects, in other words, estimating effects for each level, might make more sense. However, this model yields random effects even weaker than the global effect previously estimated. It doesn't look like we can draw any conclusions. That being said, this study is ripe with limitations. First and foremost, analysis of whether articles were positive, neutral, or negative did not follow any objective criteria, and, due to lack of resources, snap judgments had to be made. Secondly, maybe negative frames of Modi didn't emerge until further after the events. Moreover, while all articles from the Times of India and Hindustan Times and Indian Express between the 24th and 29th were included, this set of publications doesn't represent all Indian media. Perhaps an analysis of television or web sources would yield stronger results. Qualitatively, even though each publication published multiple articles referencing Modi's lavish attire, they weren't explicitly framed negatively. Even the Indian Express, which appears to be the most superficial, focused mostly on the positive progress made towards diplomatic relations with the United States. More articles than not applauded Obama and Modi's nuclear agreements and cited the event as having augmented India's place amongst world powers. However, perhaps Stripocalypse was not particularly pivotal in the shift of opinion of Modi. Perhaps the seismic migration of votes that occurred in early 2015 was the result of a gradual dissatisfaction with Modi's performance in office. At the end of the day, we don't know what started the reversal of Modi's reputation, but considering the size of India, the media must have played a role in its propagation. Perhaps Stripocalypse occurred long after the turning point.